With you at 9 o'clock. It is a Thursday morning. Yes, almost to the weekend here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Here are the things we are following for you today. Again, still tracking Hurricane Erin and what that looks like for the Carolina coast. Things are churning up out there across the Atlantic. We have a sudden cancellation. The Hispanic Heritage Festival suddenly called off because of concerns now from local officials on ICE invasions and breaking things up there. And early voting also starts today for the Charlotte primary. So our Destiny Richards also talked to folks there and what that means for you if you are interested in voting early today. Also, for Whataburger fans, yet another location opens today at 9 o'clock. So right here at the top of the hour in Indian Land, if you are headed that way, there might be a little bit of traffic because we know Whataburger fans do line up early to try to get their breakfast on a bun or double Whataburger, whatnot. Okay, let's get to the weather now because Chris Mulcahy is here. He is looking at the effects of Erin once again and what this means for all of us.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about cheeseburgers.
Okay, I thought you might want to do that first. Priorities.
Weather is my biggest passion, but I'm letting you know cheeseburgers is a very close second. So you kind of just got my double duo. First off, I want to give a shout out because we're going to go through different cameras, but I also have some video, and we're going to go through his x.com page. Sam Walker, that's at Sam Walker OBX. A lot of great video, really giving us a nice little behind the scene of what's going on. So check this out. This is Sam Walker's page. He gave us permission to show some of the videos. This one right here, you're looking at Ocracoke from the Ocracoke Observer. That's the sound side, seeing all the flooding that was happening there. And Carlene, I'll just kind of have you scroll through some of the other videos that he has. Here's a good example. This is high tide on the sound side. That's Hatteras Village. Just wow. Yeah, no, it's
wow.
Absolutely staggering just to see the remaining water that is currently on the shoreline. And I'm actually going to, let's pivot to weather 2 real quick because I want to show you this. This is the craziest video they showed me. Okay, so the video that you were just looking at was Eagle Pass Road at Hatteras Village. Check this one out. So we've been mentioning something called overwash. This is what overwash looks like. Just stand by. That is somebody filming right there.
Oh, my goodness.
That is all the water, the big wave, pouring over the dunes. And the reason why Highway 12 north of Hatteras Village is still underwater. That was yesterday. Erin was 300 miles away at that point. Now, the dunes can only do so much. And I was actually talking to Sam Walker this morning, and I just want to make a point here. They turned the camera around, but what you're looking at right now is a bulldozer who has been out there all morning long. That's a bulldozer, right?
The lone bulldozer.
Yeah, okay.
Thing.
No, it's seriously.
A little bulldozer that could.
When it was still dark, that guy was out there just waiting for it to light up. And the reason why he's out there is because it might just look like water. There is a bunch of sand on Highway 12. Now, this does happen, but the problem that they're seeing here for some of those dunes and berries that they put up, there are significant breaks in there as well. And I was asking more about this, and Sam, who knows the area very well, of course, he works for OBX, the news over there, but there are breaks in this chain from Hurricane Isabel. Hurricane Isabel happened in 2003. So that means that this area is used to flooding like this, but I really want to bring up a good point here, is that we're seeing roads underwater like this, some significant waves that overcame it when you had a Category 2 hurricane that was over 250 miles away. This really gives you a perspective that you do not need anymore in this day in climatology for a storm to make direct impacts. Helene, we will often forget, wasn't just a big deal for us here in the Carolinas or even parts of the Big Bend area of Florida. It also caused significant damage in Tampa Bay, and it did not make landfall there. It splashed a bunch of water in there. There was significant flooding for a similar way, but that was on the dirty side of the storm, the stronger one. But this is just one of many different examples that we're seeing kind of across the area of what Highway 12 is looking like in other locations as well. So a big shout out to Sam Walker as well. Again, you can go to his page to check out all the different video. The wind's not really a big deal with this system. The maximum winds that I've seen since midnight, 43 mile per hour gusts. If you know the ranges, a tropical storm has sustained winds at 39 to 73. That's sustained winds. So we didn't even really get the tropical storm force winds, and we're lucky. We're thanking our lucky stars for this. I've been really repetitive about this, but I really want to keep driving it home. We are so lucky. We are so lucky. Because Jane, you saw just what is left over. It's still minimal if you talk about any tropical storm damage, but you had evacuations in that caliber of a storm for something so far away. It really just proves, Jane, that the Outer Banks are in real rough shape if we ever do get a landfalling hurricane like this.
Absolutely. And that it's still early, right? So we're not even to September.
Oh, yeah.
So if this is the beginning, wow, we gotta be aware.
Yeah, and
be prepared.
And also, there is one concerning thing: is that for the best chance for North Carolina to have a hurricane is for usually those tropical waves that come off of Africa, makes its usual path, usually comes up north of the Caribbean, past the Lesser Antilles, and then it usually starts to curve back in. This was a close call. There are rip currents, high warnings up and down the coast. There are multiple tropical storm warnings, mainly just because of the flow and the higher tide and some storm surge that many of the beaches are seeing. But 105 mile per hour sustained winds, this is still nothing compared to whatever we saw. If another Hugo ever made landfall, say in North Carolina, I really don't know what would happen. So I'm going to keep on driving it home. We are so lucky, and it played out right because things were actually trending a little bit further west where it could have been a lot worse. And this was also the weaker side of the storm, but it still rotated the winds out of the north and west. So what's going to happen next for Erin is it's going to continue to push its way off towards the north and east. So it will be a little bit more parallel to New England within about 24 to 48 hours. And that's why we have the red that extends all the way up there. That's an absolute nutty chart that not oftentimes, now that you include Maine in there, that literally the entire Atlantic coast under a high threat for rip currents. This is one thing I'm really concerned about, that I feel like a lot of people are going to underestimate this, and this happens all the time, that a lot of lightning deaths that come from a storm system happen well before the storm arrives and well after. So, Jane, the point that I'm trying to make here is not about lightning, is that we saw Monday, Tuesday over 90 rescues because of rip currents. I think once the weather settles and we start to see sunshine, I'm worried that people are going to be challenging this, especially on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are those daredevils that just want to find what it looks like, what it feels like, get a sense of it, and that's when they get into trouble, and you risk going up against Mother Nature like that, or in this case, Hurricane Erin like that.
Has any one of you two ever experienced or seen a rip current?
I don't think I have, and I'm from the beach pretty much.
I think I'm lucky enough too that I don't think I've.
Thank goodness. Yeah, lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. I've, of course, had that current along the ocean. The next thing you know, you're not paying attention and you have no idea where your friends are.
Came from. Right. Yeah, there's a little bit of that, if that's like a little taste of it.
Yeah, and it's a staggering stat, but rip currents can move at 8 feet per second.
Ooh.
So they bring you out that fast. And I try every time I get in the water to immediately think, okay, if I'm in a rip current, what am I going to do? Because panic. People always panic, and that's what leads to fatalities, that you just have to calmly just start swimming along the shoreline. It's parallel to the shoreline. Again, I panicked when I was trying to release a water bug from my house, and it flew at me, and then I hurt my hand and knocked things over. So I don't know how I actually would be.
Instinctively, you just want to do something. Yeah. And then we ran that weather, I know it was an old weather IQ, and Brittany said you'd float on your back. We talked about that yesterday on WCNC Charlotte at 4. It might take you a little ways away. You might sort of feel more panicked, but at least it gives time for people to find you, rescue you.
That's
if you
true.
Continue just floating, at least you'll be able to be your own life raft for a little bit longer.
And depending on the conditions, a lot of times where you have the most fatalities, it's a beautiful day.
Right.
And most of the waves crash close to the shoreline, so floating is actually a good possibility. So, no, all great advice. Now, there's a good chance most of you are not going to be at the beach, but I just want people to keep that in mind. But it's also one of the last couple of weekends before summer, so it's going to be one of the most busy ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're lucky, but guaranteed there's going to be a red flag out there, but then at times for a double red flag. And if you're not familiar, red flag means dangerous conditions such as rip currents. Yellow usually mean, hey, not really a big deal, but still could have rip currents. And they'll put up the double red if their beaches are closed. And if you've ever been anywhere, most likely you've seen the double red because they clear the beaches for thunderstorms. Okay, so moving on, I just really wanted to hammer home that one point.
Yeah, that was good.
Just because, I'm just worried about that. We don't want any more fatalities as far as rip currents go, because that's our biggest cause of any weather death that we actually have on the coastal Carolinas. All right, let's talk about Erin's trajectory, its path, where it's going, where it's headed. This thing is going to be flying. Look at this. This is Friday, 2 a.m., 100 mile per hour wind. So likely, I think it's going to be either Category 1, a strong one there, or like lower end Category 2. But notice how far it makes. So by Sunday at 2 a.m., it's just below hurricane strength. So it's moving so fast, it doesn't really even have enough time to weaken. But I want to show you how far this travels in a short time frame. So it's going about 600 miles in the course of a day.
Wow.
So doing some quick math, it's about 25 miles per hour, which is very fast for a hurricane, but it actually wants to have some tea and crumpets potentially, because you're going to be right around the UK area, right around Ireland as well. I don't think it's going to actually make impact there. It's going to kind of dance around the short term, but it's just really nuts to see how fast this thing moves and how far it actually makes it, holding on to a decent strength. Likely it'll turn to what's called a post-tropical storm or a post-tropical system or cyclone. Okay, what about what's next? We'll talk tropics. There's a chance that we could have two more named storms by this weekend alone.
You're up to 70%. Oh, boy.
Over the next 2 to 7 days. I think that we'll have at least a tropical depression from this system. And if you look, it's actually really good news for most areas. You might not be able to see it because it's so small, but right in the middle of that red is Bermuda. So that's the one area that would have to watch. But since you have Erin that's so powerful in the way things are going, what actually happens is it's a wider effect called the Fujiwara effect. So what that actually allows is you can have storm systems that circulate around themselves. This isn't exactly that, but it's going to interact with one another, and that's going to allow for it to curve more out to sea compared to towards the United States. But this other one that you see to the far right actually has the fancy name Invest 99L. And what that's depicting is that the National Hurricane Center is already investigating this wave more than the other one. I think mainly because it has a better chance of impacting the land. So taking the same map but kind of shifting it a little bit, Invest 99L as it's called, which by the way, the Atlantic Hurricane System for the investigations goes Invest 90L, L representing Atlantic, to 99. So the next one after this would become 90L if they do decide to investigate that next one. But here's what's called the spaghetti plots over the next 5 days. It's moving due west. This is a typical tropical wave coming off of Africa, and there's still a lot of discrepancies, but this at this point brings it Tuesday east Guadalupe and the Lesser Antilles. It depends on that path that it still takes about 2 weeks for it to make it to the United States, but it's worth watching. So the next names up on the list, by the way, and I had it for the last graphic, we have Fernan, and I have not been able to actually show you the spelling of that, so most people are going to be saying Fernand. No, it's Fernan.
Is
or
it Fernan?
Fernan. Yeah, like think about fair knots, but Fernan. That's how Majestic helped me remember it this morning. And then you have Gabriel, Umberto,
yes.
Imelda, and then I hope Jerry's not anything. Jerry's after Imelda. Yeah, because there's just some names
all the beautiful Hispanic
Yeah.
rooted names. And
Is
then
that yeah?
Jerry.
We
And
go
then
Ferdinand, Gabrielle, Umberto, Imelda, and then over to Jerry.
Jerry.
So-
Short for Geraldo.
Yeah, and all the hurricane names, by the way, are primarily based off of English, French, and Spanish because those are the top 3 languages spoken in the Caribbean and the Atlantic. So just kind of little tropical facts there. Any other tropic questions before I further eat up your impact time on our local forecast?
No eating
Okay.
here. Feast away.
Okay.
Questions? I think so. Today, we got to get through today. Is that pretty much the gist of it?
As far as the best chance for rain, I think you have to get through tomorrow.
Through tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, you do have some chances of rain, so excellent transition. Let me get out of this tropics.
Okay.
I'll take off my tropical hat. Even though the tropics, what hurricanes
look
can
at
do
that.
is devastating, but it is definitely my favorite and I think my biggest expertise in meteorology, just because of so many different players and things that come through it, and they're phenomenal storms. They can bring everything from tornadoes, storm surge, and all the above, but I digress. Monroe, a nice mix of cloud and sunshine. It's been gorgeous. Charlotte, I squished the Charlotte cam, so those buildings look much skinnier than they actually are. Boone at 69 degrees, but we're already into the upper 70s. It's the big difference from the last few days. We had sunshine earlier. Fog wasn't a big issue. Fog likes calm winds. We didn't have it. Even though Erin was so far away, it was still enough to pick up the winds. We're about to go a little bit deeper into the meteorological woods, per se. One of the best tools we have is called PWATS, or precipitable water. This is just simply put is you took all the moisture in the atmosphere and you squeezed it down into one jar. This would be how much could rain in a given column. And a column would be like, hey, you take specifically over, say, the Oakdale neighborhood, just naming something randomly, or over Uptown. That would provide a chance for up to 1 to close to 2 inches of rain during that given time period. But you might be thinking, well, some areas can have up to 5 inches of rain in an hour. That's just a certain column of air, but it shows that you have constant rates that could get up to that high. Once you get closer to about 3, that's big time tropics. That's big time flooding rains. This is a little bit more typical for this time of year, but still high. But I want to show you the big drop off that we see after that, because we're actually trending in good direction. So because those are so high, our best chance for rain are really now through the weekend, but I might even narrow that down now through tomorrow morning. And our highs today, 86. By the way, we've typically been around 85, 87, out today 86, so hovering in the same range over the last few days. The 90s are kind of distant memory. It's still humid, so we're back into the lower 90s. But here are all of our rain chances that we have as far as this model goes, the one that I trust the most. I think you see an isolated storm this afternoon, and this is coming from the flow from Erin, actually, and as kind of a prefrontal boundary. But once you get to about 5 o'clock, they're becoming more numerous. Since that front is starting to roll in, that's going to allow for more storms west of I-77. Doesn't mean you're not going to see one here in Charlotte, but I think it spreads a little bit further east as we work our way through the evening. So there's a chance that during the Panthers preseason game, there could be some nearby storms. So if you're going to that as a Steelers fan, or if you're going as a Panthers fan, it's crazy how many Steelers fans are here, by the way, for a side note.
Lots of them.
It's insane.
Lots
Right.
of them. They're kind of everywhere, but there are lots of them here.
Yeah, you see,
Coming from a major Bills fan,
True.
that's true.
Miss Carlene.
Yeah, have you
There's a lot
watched?
of Bills here too.
Have you
Yeah.
watched Hard Knocks, by the way?
I have not watched it yet. I'm waiting for. I just want to binge it when Greg's
That's good.
available.
That's a
I'm
good
waiting.
idea.
I'm waiting. I'm being good. I'm waiting.
Okay.
He's not even a Bills. He's a Ravens fan, but you know,
Hey.
he wants to watch it too.
No, the Hard Knocks series is
Hard Knocks is
very
great.
good. Very good.
Very good.
well
Well,
done.
Megan Bragg brought it up, and she said, "Did you watch it?" I was like, "No, I'm a Patriots fan." I was like, but I respect
still.
Josh Allen and the Bills.
Sure.
And also go Keon Coleman because he was a Florida State alum. All right. Anyways, back to the radar. I love going off on tangents with you. That's how my mind works. But for our future cast, you're noticing that things start to spread out a little bit more. Here, I'm going to actually roll this a little bit faster. Notice how things start to kind of rotate on themselves once we get into tomorrow morning. So what that is actually an upper level low that's going to kind of sit in place, and that's going to linger flooding or some light to moderate rain. Could be some slow movers. So we actually do have a low risk for a little bit of flooding over the next day and a half. So I want really tonight to tomorrow just kind of keep that in mind. I don't think it's going to be anything really super astronomical, but it is going to be kind of a hidden threat that we have lingering there as well. So tomorrow morning could be actually pretty damp overall. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can see for our excessive rainfall map that's about to load for your Thursday, and this does include tomorrow morning up until 8 a.m. The most of the area has a low risk for flooding, not so much for Friday, because I think once we get to the afternoon, things get a little bit better, and then a better chance for storms and some flooding rains up in the mountains on Saturday. So here is Friday at 9 a.m. Notice how that rain eventually is going to get out of here. We're going to see a spotty shower or two, better chance for maybe a brighter sky after that. Heading into the weekend, chance for a few showers, but things getting a little bit better. Okay, so for our 7-day forecast, 86 degrees today, lower 80s Friday, Saturday, mid to the upper 80s on Sunday and Monday. So Monday's the only day that's an average day of 88 degrees. But Tuesday and Wednesday, those lower 80s have a different flair. But why, Chris? The reason why is, and I wish I had my DJ air horn getting ready for this, is, but we are under a fall weather alert. Weather alert. Weather alert. Yeah, so this is actually the best one that you can have, because it's actually going to feel amazing during that stretch. That I'm literally talking about dew points dropping down to that comfortable range. It's not going to be overly humid whatsoever, and those lower 80s are sticking around for most of next week. So rejoice, everybody, if you like that more fall-like air. Now, it's not great if you want the warmer forecast heading into your Memorial Day. I always do that. Labor Day weekend. But yeah, we're gonna have a nice little break. So the lower 80s is gonna be feeling absolutely amazing. So get outside and enjoy it. I was actually trying to load a graphic for you. I literally made one for this very opportunity, but then it wouldn't. Oh, here it goes. Finally. All right, there we end on there.
Okay.
See, I even had the megaphone and everything. Yeah, 80 to 82 next Tuesday through Friday. I think rain chances start to return. It starts to feel a little bit more humid by the end of the week. But that middle of the week stretch, I haven't decided what my pick of the week's going to be yet. But boy, is it going to be nice. A nice little break, perfect for those evening walks or doing anything outside. So enjoy it. We'll warm back up eventually, but a nice little treat, feeling more like late September.
All right, very good. Look at this. This is a live picture in Wrightsville Beach. And it was live, frozen for a second, but you get a sense that people are out there awaiting a little bit of the surf, maybe.
Yeah, surfers having a great time.
And that's it. That's
all
it.
of our cameras,
That's all our
cameras blacked out, all
our
at
weather
once.
cam authorities went.
Great.
"Meow." Okay, fine.
Who needs them, right?
Needs them.
We already talked about hurricanes. On to the next subject.
All right, very good. Chris Mulcahy, thank you for bringing us the
course.
very latest and great. We have great weather coming up soon for sure.
Thanks for listening to me for over 20 minutes. I appreciate it.
No, that was good. It was like a complete weather show almost. All right. Thanks, Chris. Here in the Live Impact studio on WCNC Plus. Right now it is 9:22. And for more visuals, because it really is impacting the Carolina coast, north and south. But NBC's Erin Gilchrist is reporting on Hurricane Erin, and he has some of the latest pictures now from the East Coast here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
This morning, Hurricane Erin lashing North Carolina's Outer Banks. Tropical storm force winds driving the ocean into unprotected shore over and over. Overnight, the artery connecting Hatteras Island to the mainland under threat, officials closing part of Highway 12 as water rushed over the road. It's the only road on or off the island, which has mostly been evacuated as the dangerous surge sweeps in. The hurricane, which is hundreds of miles offshore, is still packing wind gusts near 50 miles per hour and potentially destructive waves up to 20 feet high.
This, I think, is by far the worst. I'm anxious.
Double red flag warnings and no swimming signs lining beaches up and down the Carolina coast.
No one should be in the ocean. It's a serious storm, and conditions can deteriorate quickly.
As the residents who didn't evacuate hunker down.
The biggest concern is the access to whatever we need, medically, food, electricity, water, all those things.
96-year-old Carol White Dillon, who has owned the beachfront Outer Banks motels since the 1950s, is worried about the ocean snatching her main cottages right off their pilings.
It would be devastating for me to lose them.
She is planning to stay on the island to deal with whatever happens.
Now, you didn't evacuate. You're staying here.
Well, I would never leave. Let's put it that way.
All right, to one of our top local stories right now. Like I mentioned, top of the Live Impact news stream here at 9 o'clock. Suddenly called off. It is not going to take place. I'm talking about the Hispanic Heritage Festival, canceled. And our Richard Devane did speak to maybe an organizer and someone else, an organizer, about the reasons for this difficult decision. Here are a couple of those really quick, raw sound bites here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
And that's what we were afraid of, that we could possibly, instead of looking forward to celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, now it's been put on a pause because of the temperature, because of the mental state that you're going through. It's tough. It's tough. How can you enjoy a day like that? You can't. It was a tough call for us to make, but it's the right call to make. Considering all the immigration temperature, what's going on right now, things are not looking too well for our community, and we just felt exposing the community in a large, venue, a large event, 10, 11,000 people, it's just going to be something to where we felt that it could be, we could be targeted in a large mass gathering. So we felt like it would be more responsible for us at this moment just to pause the festival.
Time right now is 9:25. We do appreciate you downloading the WCNC Plus app to your Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, and that way we can bring you all of these raw sound bites and important discussions and live talks with meteorologists, and really get you updated with what's happening around the Carolinas and onto a state level and then a world level. But anyway, let's get back to the Charlotte area, because it is the first day of the Charlotte primary, and our Destiny Richards on top of this story, why voters are deciding to make a vote today. She did speak to a number of early voters, and she has this story now here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning. Yeah, it is 8 o'clock and polls are officially open for early voting in the municipal primary. We already have a good handful of people who have just parked in the parking lot here at the Hal Marshall Annex. And remember, this is the only spot that you will be able to vote early, at least for this week. And then 8 more sites will open up after Labor Day. So you still have plenty of time to participate in this election. Now, on the ballot is the mayoral Democratic primary that will have Mayor Lyles facing 4 other challengers. There are also Democratic primaries in District 1, 3, 4, and 5, while District 6 voters will see a Republican primary. Then in the City Council at-large race, there's no primary for Republican candidates, but 10 Democrats are running for 4 seats. If you're not sure who's on your ballot before you vote, you can check by entering your voter information on the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections website. And then, of course, don't forget to bring your photo ID to the polls. Again, this week, Hal Marshall Annex is the only early voting site, running from 8 to 5 p.m. on weekdays. After Labor Day, there will be 9 sites total open across the city of Charlotte, open from 8 to 7:30 p.m. And then on Saturday, September 6th, the final day of early voting, you can vote from 8 to 3. So lots of different options if you choose to vote early. Primary election day is September 9th. That's a Tuesday. And on that day, you have to vote at your assigned voting location. During early voting, you can go to the Hal Marshall Annex here or any of the other sites that will open September 2nd. But you do have to go to your assigned one on primary election day. And we have more information about that in this story on the WCNC Charlotte News app. I'll send it back to you ladies in the studio.
And Destiny, as a lot of people are going to be heading out today, is a regular photo ID okay, or do they need a real ID?
Yeah, regular photo ID is okay. It is just the same as you would in previous elections. So we do have a lot of people that are coming in this morning. Just keep in mind that, you want to pick a day that is best suited for you. You want to have everything that you need, but there are also lots of volunteers that are here to help you. No long lines, so it shouldn't be that busy, at least on day 1 of early voting. But again, lots of different time options, and then September 6th is a Saturday right before primary election day. So yeah, just a regular ID is fine. And of course, we have more information on our app with that as well.
And that was our Destiny Richards doing a little walk and talk and talking on the stream, the 8 o'clock show with Megan Bragg and Lisa Washington on WCNC+. We turn now from local news to the international stage, where despite President Trump's insistence that the leaders of Ukraine and Russia are going to meet, overnight, Russia did launch one of its biggest aerial attacks of the year. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington on WCNC+.
New questions this morning about whether a meeting between Ukraine's President Zelensky and Russia's President Putin will actually happen, while the White House voices confidence that it's on track.
Sometimes leaders sitting down face to face can break the logjam that their teams don't necessarily have the ability to do.
Russia is signaling it's in no rush for a leaders' summit, with top diplomat Sergei Lavrov saying lower-level negotiations must come first. And that talks among Western leaders about guaranteeing Ukraine's security are a, quote, road to nowhere without Russia involved. Those talks continued Wednesday at a meeting of NATO military leaders. Ukraine now buoyed by President Trump's new pledge of American assistance to prevent a future Russian attack, though he's ruled out U.S. troops on the ground. Some lawmakers pressing the president to act on the harsher sanctions he's long discussed to ramp up pressure on the Russian economy.
We need to hold Putin accountable. We need to get the parties to the table. We need a ceasefire.
With the Russian bombardment only intensifying, a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine arguing Putin has no incentive to stop.
They want to continue to pound the Ukrainians until they get what they want, and that's why standing up to them is the only way to do it.
Ukraine's President Zelensky saying overnight his meeting with Putin is necessary to end the war, even as his team is preparing action plans if Russia backs out and its assault drags on. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Right now, we are monitoring things out of Maryland. There is an event happening there with the governor because of an historical racecourse. If you're familiar with the area, it's the Pimlico Racecourse, and there is a demolition event happening right now. The hope here is that there will be more investment in the surrounding area. Let's go ahead and listen in on Live Impact News on WCNC.
God bless you and thank you. Who came up with this lineup? That I would have to go behind that. It is my pleasure to be here with you all today. I wrote a speech that they gave me, that they told me I had 2 or 3 minutes to speak from. And for those that know me and saw me put the speech back in my pocket, you already know that I'm going to speak from my heart. I am a product of Park Heights. Raised on Park Heights Terrace. I went to Easton High School from Park Heights Terrace. I went to Morgan State College and got my master's in social work from Park Heights Terrace. And I raised my children here and ministry here in Park Heights. I'm invested in Park Heights. And it is a pleasure that I have to be the chair of the Community Advisory Board for this great, prestigious act. But my heart grieves, as well as its joy. I am a product of the good, and I'm a product of the bad. I am a product of what we can promise for here. And I'm also a product of what questions rise. You're looking at a testimony today because as I sat in my car yesterday, taking a neighbor to get his hair cut, he was mentally challenged. And I take him every month to get his hair cut, and I sat on Park Heights in my car, and 5 seconds later, guns roll out. I was in the middle of a gunfire. They shot my car up. And as I laid on the floor of my car, crying. I said, Lord, not this. Not this way. It can't end like this. This is not what you called me to do. This is not the vision you gave me. And I'm trying not to preach. I'm holding it. I'm holding it. But I reminded him that you told me to complete the promise and the projects that you gave me. I lead the advisory board for this project. And for him to take me out at this moment, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Park Heights is resilient. Park Heights is promise. Park Heights are fighters. And I got out of that car and I stood there, and as I looked at the gentleman gasping for air in his lungs, I prayed that God give him another day. But then I rejoiced that he gave me another day. And he gave me another day to make sure not only this project gets done, and I hope you're with me on this, that the community benefits all the way to the end. I am not just a product of the present. I am a product of the past. And I am, thank God, now can say I'm a product of the future of Park Heights. You have work to do. You know, every one of you on that board, I have knocked on your door. You have work to do. And if you think I was persistent then, imagine the wind behind me now. All of us is tasked to make sure that the residents get what they deserve. My job is not completed yet. So as you fight, know I fight with you. As you run, know I'm running beside you, not fast, but running beside you. And Governor, when you signed this legislation, and I was in Annapolis, they took a picture, I leaned over to you and I said, 60 pounds more. I leaned over and said, don't forget Park Heights. Come to Park Heights and talk to us. And when he came in here today and I hugged him, he kept his promise. He is in Park Heights for us. And we appreciate all that you do. All that you do. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for coming. The fight has just begun. We're starting here, but we're moving out into the community. And I'm right there with you as we walk. Thank you so much. Thank you. I now turn it over to the chair, Mr. Thompson.
All right, at this point, I'm going to be told what we are going to do from this point. Say again. All right, now the group that's designated for the sledgehammer photo op, can you please come forward?
And it looks like that press event is wrapping up for some photo ops out of Maryland. Pimlico Racecourse, home of the Preakness, as they have a celebratory symbolic ceremony for the demo and trying to modernize the facility. All right, if you were with us last night, you might have caught part of or all of the interview with Charmac Animal Care and Control here at WCNC Charlotte. We are wanting to clear the shelters, and big adoption day this Saturday at the Animal Care and Control facility that is it's overcrowded. They have so many issues all the time with overcrowding, so fostering, staycations, full adoptions, that would be great. It's going to be a great event. I will be there this Saturday as well. Larry Sprinkle's going to be there, and Vanessa spoke to Animal Care and Control last night, so this is a previously recorded interview here on WCNC Charlotte.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for Live Impact News. I'm Vanessa Rufus. Just right off the bat, we want to talk about Clear the Shelters, just because this is a big initiative for us here at WCNC Charlotte, and it's been underway all month long. And y'all who've been watching us throughout the month know that through the afternoon, morning, evenings, we've been bringing you coverage of our local rescues and shelters, the need out there, how you can help, adopt, foster, volunteer, donate, advocate. We'll just remind you our weekend here all mapped out, because we got Clear the Shelters adoption event that's happening at Charlotte Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control on Byram Drive, the Byram Drive location, from 9 to 5. But let's talk more about what folks can expect and also just the general need out there. We've got Melissa Nicely joining us from the animal shelter. So fabulous timing, because we've got just a couple more days until this big event, and y'all pull out all the stops for this.
So it could, first of all, thank you.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Thanks to all of the amazing people at WCNC for supporting us. And not just Animal Care and Control, but all of the local shelters and the shelters around the country. It could not be, I'm going to speak for everyone, it could not be better timing for shelters across the country. Yeah. As you know, one of the words that comes out of our mouth all the time is talking about full. Yeah. And how full we are, and how full shelters get in the summer months especially, and that is no different at Animal Care and Control or the shelters around this area. So perfect time to go out and support by adopting a shelter pet for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great event as well, in that not only do you usually see a lot of pets get adopted, but also it's just kind of a fun, day out with the family, perhaps maybe come visit and see what y'all do at the shelter, take a look at the pets. We know a lot of area, shelters, they have, they're going to be coming and activities. So just something that will, make up for a good day, I think, in general for
absolutely
folks.
Absolutely. And remember too that we have more than just dogs and cats available for adoption. We're also going to have pocket pets available. Yeah. So if your child's been wanting a rabbit or something that's not a cat or a dog, make sure that you check with us as well, because we do often have all kinds of things in our room that is for our pocket pets.
Yeah. I mean, and I see from time to time y'all have like pigs and goats, and I know I think you have to have special permitting maybe for some of those barnyard animals, but occasionally, yeah, you'll see like chickens in the barn over there at the shelter.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago we had 2 small pigs named Bambi and Flower, and they were adorable, and I'm happy to announce that they went to rescue or they went to a home. I don't know for sure, but I have been actually on vacation all of last week, so I truly don't know. I just got back in the office today. I don't know what we have in the barn. Yeah. I'll have to check and see, because we may have some barn animals that have crept in.
It's always a possibility. Always a possibility. So, I mean, we talk about the need, and throughout the last few weeks, we've been profiling, different shelter pets around our area, and we've been talking about their bios and that sort of thing. In fact, yesterday we did have some volunteers from Zoomy Toomey come.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they talked about some of the Toomey dogs. That's your satellite location. We'll remind everyone once again, Saturday's event primarily at Byram Drive, but I mean, y'all have some great animals, and y'all are super full right now.
We are both full with the dog kennels, and we're full in the cat kennels, and This time of the year, if you're specifically wanting to have the lowdown on the kittens, it is no better time to adopt a kitten or two this time of the year, because we've got lots of kittens and they're really adorable. They're at those ages where they're around 8 months of age all the way up to, a few months old, and they're playing and they're fun, and if you get to, they play together and they grow up together. So we've got lots and lots of kittens, all shapes, sizes, colors, personalities available. So it's a great time to come if you're looking for a kitten. And then of course, as you know, Vanessa, you spend a lot of time there walking dogs and different things that we always need adopters for our amazing dogs as well.
Yeah. Now, I did see, because of all of the staff concentration, if you will, and volunteer concentration on this weekend's event, that it looks like maybe daycations are going to be paused for a little bit.
Right.
I probably just good to remind folks that, but maybe even just talk about the daycation program, because when it returns, that's really a great option too.
Yeah, the daycation, we've got some great adoption programs, and we'll start with talking about the daycation program. So the daycation program is exactly what it is. It's day. So if you are free and you have a day off and you're like, I'd really like to get to know a shelter dog, get some exercise a shelter dog, get him out of the shelter, go get him a pup cup at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or wherever you fancy, then it's a great program. You can come, pick out a dog, take him out for the day. When you come back, you can give us all kinds of details about learned about the dog, and we'll put that on the profile, so it gives adopters more information that we may not have yet about the dog. So that is an amazing program, and usually is offered 7 days a week, but we are not doing it this Saturday. And the reason that we're not doing it this Saturday is because we don't want them to be out on a daycation and lose their opportunity to find their forever home. With people who are coming to the shelter hoping to adopt and looking to adopt. So that, and also we're hopefully going to be really, really busy, and the processing of putting a daycation dog out to a person and that sort of thing would then slow down the lines. So those are the two reasons, but mainly because we want them to be there for people who are looking to adopt.
Yeah, and I mean, thinking back over the years, because I've been there at this point maybe 4 or 5 years of, just because our station has been doing this with y'all for years and years and years. I think because I came in 2020, this would be the 5th year of us talking about Clear the Shelters together. I feel like we always report on at the very least dozens of animals get it. I know it varies from year to year, but I mean, can you give us an idea of, I don't want to say expectations because that's hard to set, but what is a ballpark of a usual successful adoption day for y'all?
Well, I think that the great thing is that you guys have done an amazing job pushing it out to the community and letting the community know to go to their local shelters, and not just animal care and control, to anyone watching within your region, to go to and support their local shelters. So again, kudos to you guys, because getting the information out and knowing about this day is the piece that it wouldn't work if we didn't have that. But I'm just going to compare it to a few, I guess it was back in June, July, we did sort of an SOS adoption because we were extremely full with dogs and really needed to get some moved out very quickly. And so we planned within 2 weeks' time, we decided that we were going to do a fee-waived adoption, and we were going to be doing it on a certain day. And we set a pretty high, lofty goal of, I think, 250 animals, I think. I can't even remember what the goal was, but we surpassed that goal. So if we could, within a week's time, say between now and the end of Saturday, we would love to see at least 150 animals leave between now and the end of Saturday.
Well, I'd love to see that too.
Yeah.
I know how much that would make a difference for not only the kennel capacity over at the shelter, but also, with the resources and staff as well. I mean, it does take a whole village to care for those animals. So speaking of, the big push, and we know that a lot of shelters will try to do waived fees or special sponsorships of adoption. How are y'all handling it this year?
So great news. We actually started a special this week. So we are waiving adoptions from I think they started it on Monday here. So I think it started on Monday all the way up until the 24th, I think, through the 24th. So through Saturday. All adoption fees are waived. Let me just say it one more time.
Yeah.
All adoption fees are waived. That's huge. So it's a perfect opportunity that you can bucks on the adoption fee and take that money and go to your pet supermarket, get all the things that you need to start up having a new pet in your home.
Yeah, I mean, because we adopted a dog from Charlotte Mecklenburg Animal Care and his name is Rocky River. If you've been watching on TV, there's some commercials that have been running for this month. That is Rocky River. We have another dog too, but he was rescued from a different state. Anyways, when we got Rocky, he came with all of his basics, and he was also heartworm positive. We did have the option of doing the slow kill heartworm treatment through y'all. So y'all provide a lot of medical services for these animals, and so to waive those adoption fees, that's pretty huge.
It is. Like, one of the things that I really like to tell people, especially who are looking to adopt, and obviously you want to make sure that you have the finances in place, for the unexpected, but even just the routine things that you're going to have. The nice thing is when we fee waive, you do get a lot for free. So all of them, like you said, all of the animals are going to come. They're going to be microchipped. They're going to have all the vaccines that they need to this point in time. And when you get the adult animals, that's great because you're looking at, like, you won't need any of their core vaccines until a year from now. So then also they're dewormed. The dogs are heartworm tested. And if they're heartworm negative, then that's great. If they're heartworm positive, then we can work with you on, like, sending them home with the slow kill method, medication basically, which is very easy to do. And what am I missing? I think that's pretty much everything. And of course the spay or neuter.
Yeah.
So that's the most important, and I almost missed that, but they will be sterilized. And usually on these days, most of the ones that will be up for adoption will have hopefully already had that spay neuter, so they can leave that day. That's what our goal is.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about, past Clear the Shelters and seeing, I mean, it's just fun to see, who gets adopted. I remember even, one of our team members adopted a cat that very day too. So
Was that last year? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it goes by fast, and it's hard to keep track, right? Like, because we've been doing this so many years. But talk about, I guess, some of the vibe of the day and just what it feels like to see so many animals go out the door in a positive outcome.
It's like one of the best days. There's several best days that you get, as someone who's a staff or a volunteer there, and certainly seeing so many people in our community coming because they want to adopt, it's just the best feeling. And especially if it's an animal that's been there for a long time, and we get to, say goodbye to it, which is sad, but at the same time, it's what we are in this for, right? Is to see them go home. So I'm kind of getting chills a little bit because it's just the most amazing time. And I think what the cherry on top is, especially if it's a family and their children, and they are so excited to take their new pet home that they're just almost dancing around. They're so excited, and I love that. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I love seeing, and it's not related to Clear the Shelters, but it's certainly important, is, I'll mention it, one of my best days of the month is our outreach rabies clinic that we do, where we provide free rabies shots. Just a little plug, second Saturday of every month. Look at our website for details. Is to see how many people are willing to line up in their car and wait for an hour plus to get a rabies vaccine. It just shows me how many people really care so much about their pet that they're willing to take all the time and wait in the line and do all that. And so those are the glimpses you get of, like, how many amazing pet owners there are in our community who really care about their pets, because I know a lot of people are like, how can you do the job? It's so sad. You see all the animals coming in that nobody wanted, or they were lost and they didn't come look for. But truly, we get to see the flip side of it too. We get to see how many amazing people are adopting, how many people are coming to get their pets vaccinated because they care, and how many people are fostering, and how many people are volunteering. So it's lots of love, and these days really spread a lot of the love when we're doing the Clear the Shelter event. And we're supported by the community, and we're supported by folks like you guys. So it's a wonderful day.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait. I hope that it's very successful. And we'll just remind people too, we've got a lot of coverage on our website. We've got an article up about how you can learn about Clear the Shelters, the when, where, how, the time, all of it. If you can't by chance make it, donations are great. Learn about volunteering, fostering, all of it. It makes a difference. Melissa, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Once again, it's Saturday, this Saturday, Charlotte Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control, Byram Drive location. More information, as we mentioned, on our website, WCNC.com.
And here is that information right now, checking out the full screen graphic, and we are clearing the shelters, the big adoption event again this Saturday starting at 9 a.m. from 9 to 5 at the Charlotte Mecklenburg location. All good. Animal Care and Control there on Byram Drive. Or there's the QR code if you want to donate money. You can't stop by. Text PETS to that phone number there on your screen. A lot of ways that you can help out from the comfort of your home, from the comfort of your phone as well. And I will be there as a reminder, along with Larry Sprinkle, as we try to clear the shelters. And it's going to be a great event. So many activities, great vendors. If you haven't been, it's a nice way to meet other furry friend parents and foster parents as well, and all of the friendly people there that try to make a happier life for some of these pets. A lot of these pets well deserving of a fun, loving home for you. All right, time right now is 9:55. I want to get to some breaking news right now. This is the NASCAR tweet, a post on X rather, about legendary NASCAR promoter, Charlotte Motor Speedway president H.A. Humpy Wheeler. He has died at the age of 86. A transformative figure in the world of motorsports, hired by Speedway Motors back in 1975, and he was described as being one of a kind. He died yesterday peacefully of natural causes, surrounded by a loving family at the age of 86 years old. But for more than 30 years, he was a promoter of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and so big loss for the motor sports world. And certainly Charlotte, big deal, as we all will be talking about this now with Humpy Wheeler. May he rest in peace. And the NASCAR family mourns the loss. We mourn with them. Here at 9:56 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, coming up on 10 o'clock right now. Thanks for watching. Here on Live Impact News is where we bring you the latest local news, weather, traffic, if it is pertinent, if it's happening right now, if it's something that is going to impact lives, like the Clear the Shelters event. Those are animals' lives, from the local level to the state level and international stage as well. You got to check out this live picture from Baltimore, Maryland. So we brought you some of the live pictures of the Pimlico Racetrack, the home of the Preakness, and they are starting this multi-million-dollar renovation, updating the grandstands and the racetrack. And so the governor of Maryland spoke earlier, and now the demolition continues as we're just taking a look there. It's always interesting to see a piece of history come down.
That's what I think was, as I've been reading more about it, is
Right?
that not everybody welcomed this kind of renovation. Some people
Right.
really kind of wanted to keep the historic nature of the track alive.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
It's a tough day for some people, but, exciting for others. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
As they move into the future, but the tradition of the Preakness continues, just upgrading it and making it more modern. All right, here we are at 9:58. Another big event is the MS Gala event. Is it this weekend, Carlene? Yes. All right, so it's this weekend. Our Danielle Stein, who has MS, she came on here before to speak openly about her experience and her journey. And the local president for the MS Society a board member of the MS Society also came to talk about this event that is so important. And so that interview was previously recorded yesterday. So if you missed any of it, let's get you caught up here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Serderman. Carlene is here. We have a special guest, a guest who has an inspiring story. I got a chance to read the story. Using and turning what she's dealing with and what she's living with, not only into inspiration, but into work. She is building and also building awareness at the same time when we talk about multiple sclerosis, MS. She's doing a lot of great work. I want to get into her story. The gala that's coming up on Saturday. We got a chance to talk before we got her in and situated. Carol Hunley is here with the National MS Society. Carol, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Again, an inspiring story. Let's start back from the beginning. So I read it. You were diagnosed with MS, or not diagnosed. You started feeling symptoms in 2001.
Right.
And so what took 14 years for a diagnosis?
It took 14 years for a full diagnosis. I was told in 2001 I may have MS. At that point in time in my life, I had young children. I was climbing the corporate ladder, and I had a second opinion that said I didn't have MS. So I chose to believe the second opinion and didn't carry it much further. But I ended up in the emergency room with my entire right side numb.
Oh, wow.
And that numbness lasted for a long time in my right leg, which is now my problem area. My right leg is very weak. But it wasn't until we moved to Boston. I had my first symptoms in Pittsburgh when I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we moved to Boston. And I had kind of followed MS from that period of time back in 2001, and it was the National MS Society website that I would always go to see, I wonder if I should revisit this, right? And it was when we lived in Boston that I kind of went to the website, looked at the symptoms that were most common. I had those symptoms, and I pursued it and got the diagnosis 14 years later.
What was that like when you finally got the diagnosis? Was it confirming? Was it scary? Was it everything wrapped in one?
It was definitely scary.
Okay.
But it was affirming. I mean, I knew something was wrong, right? My family kind of chided me many times during those years, saying, "Mom, you're so uncoordinated." You know, I would trip on things, and I was never for an athlete like your own Danielle, but I could tell that my mobility and coordination was declining, and that was one of the things that caused me to seek a diagnosis.
What I gotta ask, what got you through that period before being officially diagnosed? Like what did you lean on your family a lot? I mean, what?
Certainly I have leaned on my family throughout, and my family has been I have 3 children. 2 of them are here in Charlotte. They're grown, they're married, and they have followed us to Charlotte, which I'm thrilled about. So I do have a very strong support system in my family. So I really, I think I've kept a pretty positive attitude throughout which is so important throughout my journey. And it is largely due to, my family support system.
You moved here to the Queen City. You've been here about 10 years at this
Right.
point. Has it felt like 10 years?
It has flown by. It has really flown by. But we love it here. Love the climate. The snow in Boston was a little problematic for somebody with balance issues, right? But just love the climate, love the pace, love the people. Very friendly. We just this feels like home to us.
You really, reading your story, you really built community here, and you've become an advocate, spreading awareness. What makes Charlotte special, and why was it important for you to do that?
So when I first moved here, and you hear this a lot with people who are diagnosed, where their first thought is, oh, I don't know anybody with MS, right? I don't have any friends with MS. So I wanted to be that person with MS that people knew, so that it isn't so frightening when you get that diagnosis and you feel so alone. Not that any two cases of MS are alike,
And we will get back to that pre-recorded interview with Carol Hundley and talking about the MS Gala coming up this weekend, previously recorded with our Nick Sturdivant. Time right now, just after 10 o'clock on this Thursday morning. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+. I'm Jane Monreal. And we have great discussions as well as timely events and breaking news as it happens. So as we follow things here for your WCNC+ app, we thank you for downloading it to your Roku, Fire, and Apple TVs and bringing us with you along throughout your day on your mobile device. Right now, the Charlotte region, as we know it, is great for lovers of the outdoors, isn't it? A new project, though, right now is going to be another opportunity to give you the access to one of our area's hidden treasures, our gems here in Spencer Mountain. This is located just west of Charlotte in Gaston County at just over 1,200 feet. It is the third highest point in the region, I understand, and until now, it has been off limits. Joining us now is Brett Baranek. He's the director of Carolina Thread Trail, the Catawba Lands Conservancy. Brett, thank you for joining us this morning.
Glad to be here, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is great news. Another area where people can explore. How is this possible?
Well, it's possible because of, like any trail project, there's lots of partnerships that go on to make these trails happen. With the growing population and the growth here, the Carolina Thread Trail is a catalytic organization to help get trails on the ground, coupled with, so many people moving here and having a desire to get outdoors. There's a growing trail system. And this particular project that we're talking about at Spencer Mountain, this is actually part of a corridor along the South Fork River in which we're trying to get at least 23 miles of trail connected. Unique to Spencer Mountain is the fact that a trail will go to the top. It has wonderful views of the Charlotte skyline, and it really will be a unique trail experience because of it's just not going to be a trail. There's going to be overlooks. There's going to be, a very accommodating trail design. So all types of trail users will be able to experience this special environment at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, fantastic. So when they reach the summit, that overlook, paint us a picture of what that is like in the Charlotte skyline from up there.
Yeah, Spencer Mountain is something that so many people see when they're driving past on I-85, or they see it from a distance. And, as you mentioned earlier, nobody really can go to the top because that's been off limits. Mm-hmm. And, we were able to work with partners to get a trail easement to go to the top of the mountain. So when it has a pretty good panoramic view at the top, obviously highlighted by the fact that you can see the Charlotte skyline, which is probably, as the crow flies, about 15 miles away.
Oh, wow.
And at the top of the mountain, there is going to be an overlook built. So that will actually kind of elevate people up to even get a broader view of the surrounding area. So it's going to be pretty special, and there's really nothing like it in the region.
It sounds amazing, and that it's so close is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I do see there are plans for multiple trail options, maybe an easy loop to challenging.
Yeah, so there's going to be a couple of things. First, I should say that the trail system, once it's in place, is going to be both for cyclists and hikers and all types of users. So there's going to be a trail that goes around the base of the mountain. We call that the Loop Trail. There's 3 total miles on the mountain. Then there's going to be what we call the Summit Trail. That is going to be the hiking trail that will get you to the top. It's going to be designed in a way that the grades are gentle enough, so if somebody has a certain mobility limitation, they can still use it and have that experience getting there. And then there's also a gravel road that traverses the mountain, and that will be used for by the cyclists, the bicyclists, to get up there.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's definitely
options.
a shared use situation.
3 miles does sound kind of substantial. What kind of timeline are you looking at for construction, and when might we be able to start hiking these trails?
The plan that we have right now is to get the project underway, hopefully in the ballpark of early November, because that's really the start of the building season for trails, if you will, because the vegetation starts going down, and it just makes for an easier situation to do trail construction. Likely, barring any unforeseen circumstances, the hope is that by the latter part of next summer, maybe a year from now, that the trail will be done.
That's awesome. This also feeds into that larger vision, doesn't it? The 23-mile, the Matthews-Belk South Fork River corridor. How does Spencer Mountain fit into that bigger picture?
When you think about the 23 miles, there's a variety of experiences along the way. So when you're down at the state line near the Daniel Stowe Conservancy, you work your way up through places like McAdenville and Cramerton, the small mill towns. This experience sort of culminates with that summit to the top of Spencer Mountain. So it's really probably the showcase feature, if you will, of that 23 miles. But, the grand vision of things, Jane, is to eventually go beyond Spencer Mountain and keep following the South Fork River and getting the whole way up into Catawba County. So there's shorter term visions and there's longer term visions too, which are really consistent with the whole 15 county vision of the Carolina Thread Trail Network.
Yeah, but as we grow, and it takes time to develop these things, heading into the next decade, really, and this region is growing. It's just, not even the start, but it's in part of that picture, so that's a positive sign, very encouraging. $500,000 was the grant. How was that made possible?
So that grant was made possible through the Great Trails State Funding Program. And it's important to note that, that funding program is unprecedented in North Carolina. That was the first time that there was investment from the state for all types of trails across North Carolina. An organization called the Great Trail State Coalition, which led the celebration of North Carolina being the Great Trail State in 2023. Their focus then has been on working in Raleigh to make sure that there's increased investment in trails across the state. We have a wonderful state to showcase the outdoors, a great trail system, and so that $500,000 was a result of that grant award, which in the Thread Trail region, not only the $500,000 for Spencer Mountain, but our partners throughout the 11 counties in North Carolina received grants of totaling $3 million for their trail projects, which all fit into the Thread Trail Network.
It's all going into showcasing and being able to access, like you said, you couldn't say it better, the great outdoors for the Tar Heel State. For families, folks wanting to just monitor the progress on Spencer Mountain, how can we follow you? CarolinaThreadTrail.org. We have social media outlets, Facebook and Instagram, and they can also reach out to staff on just an email if they want to as well. They can reach out to me. But we will be having, once that project gets underway, there's going to be updates frequently. I would say mostly with our social media outlets would be the best way to do that. Awesome. And there are so many other areas and trails that we can map out that you can use before Spencer Mountain, of course. All right, Brett Baranek, thank you so much for joining us. Great news. Love to hear it.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate your time this morning here. All right, as we release Mr. Brett from the Live Impact studio on WCNC Plus, we will get back to the conversation that Nick Sturdivant had with Carol Hunley of the Greater Carolinas chapter for the MS Society.
It's one of those snowflake chronic illnesses where everybody's journey is a little bit different, but I love to be in connection with others who are newly diagnosed, just to say it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
You know, you can do this, you can get through this, and you have support and you have resources available to you.
That initial conversation with folks, and especially folks who are newly diagnosed, what is that like? What is that conversation like?
It differs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people are very scared, and I understand that. And other times, you know, there's also, depending on where you are in your life, there are people who are afraid to even divulge that they have a chronic illness. They're afraid that might affect their work, that might affect how people see them. I have always been somebody who has shared it freely and openly, and I have found that through the years, through my, I'm retired now, but when I worked, the fact that I shared it so openly meant that people could come to me in confidence or openly and ask about, you know, I've had people ask about their spouse, their parents, their kids. You know, I serve on the local board of the MS Society, and one of my fellow board members, her daughter was diagnosed when she was 12. Can you imagine being the mother of a preteen, right? I mean, I can't imagine being the mother of a preteen again, period.
Right.
But to deal with everything else, to deal with a chronic illness at the same time. So that would be a very different conversation than somebody, you know, in their mid-life that is diagnosed.
Is there a heaviness when you hear these stories? How do you take that? Because this is heavy. I mean, granted, like you said, this is not a death sentence, but I'm sure for them, you know, it's got to be like, okay, I've said it, and I have somebody to talk to.
But you know, I mean, the conversations lately are very hopeful.
Okay.
Because. And largely due to the research and funding that comes from the MS Society, we have so many different treatments today for MS.
Yeah.
We're closer than ever to a cure, but we are like there for a lot of treatments for the different types of MS and the symptoms. So, I mean, I have said to people there's no better time to be diagnosed with MS than right now, because we have so many disease-modifying therapies available to us, even like a dozen more than when I was diagnosed, 10 years ago. So I think there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of great research. I just hope it all continues, because that's a very difficult area right now, right? Medical research. But the MS Society has not pulled back from their commitment to medical research, which I'm very happy about.
And again, you're on the board of trustees with MS Society here in the Carolinas, both the Carolinas.
Right, the local chapter.
Can you talk about the work? You guys do a lot of work. You do a lot of work. And I promise I'm going to get to the gala this Saturday.
No, that's fine.
But the work doesn't just stop on the start or stop with the gala. But you guys do work all year round.
We do. So the board does a lot of advocating, and we are effectively ambassadors for the National MS Society. And but the thing that I am most passionate about is just connecting people with MS or that are affected by MS, right, to the society, so that they're aware of the resources the society has. We have a navigator program that, you can set up an appointment with a navigator for any questions, challenges that you may have, or whether you are a caregiver for somebody with MS. That's a very stressful situation too, right? So and a lot of the people in the Carolinas that are affected by MS don't live near, medical. We're very fortunate in Charlotte to have a robust medical, or in Raleigh, some of the larger cities, to have specialists that deal with MS in neurology or what have you. When you get to some of the, rural parts of the Carolinas, not so much. So the society's done, they've partnered with Genentech to determine where there are medical deserts and how can we try to bring more access to people that are affected by MS to specialists and medical care. And I'm really excited about that work.
Yeah, when I tell some of my friends who are not familiar with the Carolinas or just have a vague knowledge of Raleigh, of Charlotte, maybe the Triad area, I tell them, I'm like, there are a lot of rural areas here that, people just don't have, they're food deserts, they're hospital deserts, they're different sort of deserts there for folks. So, yeah, to your point, folks just, it's not easy for everyone to just drive 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away to a medical facility.
Right. And some of the treatments that I referenced, involve infusions.
Yeah.
So I myself am on a treatment that involves an infusion twice a year. If you live 4 hours away from a medical, facility or an infusion center, that's a problem. So, I'm excited about the work we're doing to try to alleviate that.
Speaking of work you're doing, you're planning to have a good time on Saturday. A good time for a good cause, the Great Gatsby Gala. Where did the idea come from? And is this, what year is this gala? Is it 37th year?
I think it's 37.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of my other fellow board members, Mike Daisley, was on the, who we honored for the 35th, so that was 2 years ago. He was on the inaugural committee for 37 years ago that came up with the idea of the Great Gatsby. And I have attended, I think, all of them since moving to Charlotte.
Wow.
And a lot of our fundraisers, we have great fundraisers, but a lot of them are around activities I cannot physically, participate in, like a walk. I do the 1 mile walk, but it's tough. And we have a couple of bike events that are very popular, but I should not get on a bike, but I can party. So the Gatsby Gala has been something that has been my signature fundraiser. I try to get friends, family. My son is flying in from LA to come to the gala. So it's just a really fun event. We have people that show up in black tie. We have people that show up as Babe Ruth. We have people, I mean, it's just, we have people that come in full flapper regalia, It's just a really fun time for a great cause. And this year is special because we have your own Danielle Stein as our MC, and we're really looking forward to that. I had the pleasure of meeting Danielle at one of our bike, because she's done the MS bike. Danielle, I think, is an athlete, if I have that right. So.
Yes, she is.
So she had participated in one of the bike for the MS Society. So we connected at a bike event, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great evening. It'll be a lot of fun.
Danielle, probably one of the, let me not say probably, one of the busiest people in the newsroom.
In our building, for sure.
Oh, my goodness. I could never, I see flashes of Danielle. Say hi, and a lot of times it's hi and bye.
Then I be honored that we're going to see her Saturday night.
She's very excited.
What's your, dancing the party is obviously fun, but when you look back on the night, when you reflect back on it, what's your favorite part outside of that? Is it seeing the people come out?
Seeing the people, it's connecting with new people that are connected in some way to MS. We, for the past several years, an honoree. like I said, Mike Daisley was our honoree two years ago, and he's lived with MS for decades. And it's just an awesome inspiration to me. He was one of the first people I met here with MS, and he's been an inspiration to me. This year we're honoring Jeff Kolbenschlag, who is the father of one of my other fellow board members, and he's lived with MS for a number of years too. And I just love hearing their stories and seeing their support systems around our honorees. It's just a really, and just hearing some of the testimonies, it's just a real emotional evening. And this year we're honored to have Tim.
All right, you have been watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, a previously recorded interview with our Nick Sturdivant for the MS Society and the gala event that's happening this weekend. Want to take you live right now to the Columbia, South Carolina. That is Governor McMaster at the podium talking about a new headquarters for SCDNR, the Department of Natural Resources. Let's go ahead and listen in here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Has in gracious abundance. So you could not be in a more important place, in my opinion, right now in this century that we're in now. And with the growth, with the pressure for land, for space, for water, the pressure that is on now and the pressure that is coming, that means that we're going to have to be very careful. But if you're careful, if you're smart, if you have the right goals, you can have it all. And that's what we intend to do in South Carolina. I believe that we are in a position to have our state stand head and shoulders above all the rest in the treatment, the wonder of our environment, our economic growth, our intellectual capacity, all of the things that are strong, happy families, great education, all of these things. We're right on the edge, and we're moving into a great technical college system, great universities, behavioral health care, those kind of things that have been lacking for so long. We can do it all right here in South Carolina because we got the people. If you got the people, you can do it all. So I thank you, I encourage you, and think big. Final point, I was at a meeting a couple of years ago. Some governors were rotating out, they were into their terms, and they had 4 of them up on the stage. And they said, y'all tell us, do you have any regrets? Is there anything that you wish you'd done? You know what every one of them said? I wish I had been more bold. Well, that ain't our problem. So I thank you, we're counting on you.
Thank you, Governor, for your words and encouragement and bold plan and leadership. And yes, we are definitely standing in historic times where we have reclaimed our position as the best in the world, and it's due to you and what you've done. Thank you, and God bless. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our chairman, Dr. Mark Hartley, who please join us and welcome Dr. Hartley to share his remarks. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Director, thank you for being here on behalf of the DNR board, Vice Chairman Dwayne Swigert, our senior member of the board, Mike Hutchins, Jerry Lee, Carlisle Oxford, Davey Height, Hope Blackley, and I'm Mark Hartley. I want to thank you all for sharing this historic occasion. You can see this is a big step up from the former facility at the bottom of the Attorney General's building over at the Capitol. Without many of you here, this would never have been possible. Again, I want to thank my great friend, as the director said earlier, the most conservation-oriented governor in America, Henry McMaster, along with our General Assembly, has had the foresight and wisdom to keep South Carolina the most beautiful place on earth. It's only getting better. Governor, thank you for many years of leadership and friendship. This occasion wouldn't be complete without 2 of our former agency directors being here, join us today. 2 of my best friends and mentors, Alvin Taylor, where are you, Alvin? And Robert Boyles, who's led for many years led us to accomplish great things and wonderful things that when the history of SCDNR is written someday, it will show these leaders played a major role in the success in conserving our homes, natural resources for all citizens of the state. Many thanks to both of you. Our current director, Dr. Tom Mulligan, has hit the ground running with new and exciting ideas and plans to keep the conservation ball rolling. I can promise you when the board recently interviewed candidates for the director's position, we had a good idea of Tom's passion to accomplish great things and had heard that he was an outside-the-box thinker. But what we didn't know is that he would have had this much success in such a short time since we hired him. I may be breaking executive session protocol, but I can report to you that the vote to hire Tom on the board was unanimous. Folks, under his leadership, the sky's the limit on what this agency can accomplish. Thank you, sir. I'd also like to recognize my predecessor, Chairman Emeritus Norman Pulliam. This great gentleman has been such a true steward of our natural resources. I know I can only hope to fill his big shoes going forward. This man truly loves our state and DNR, and I'll continue to call on his knowledge and wisdom as we move forward. Thank you for everything, Mr. Chairman. Folks, we simply could not accomplish the agency's important task if it were not for all the SCDNR great and dedicated employees, for our deputy agency heads, the law enforcement officers, our scientists, everyone doing every job in between. These are the folks that study, plan, and execute our conservation vision. And I'm proud to have the most qualified and dedicated employees of any agency in South Carolina. To every single member of the DNR family, the board says thank you for making us look good every time through your efforts. Friends, Romans 8:22 acknowledges that God's creation God's creation groans under the weight of human impact. And the verse, to me, highlights the consequences of neglecting our responsibility to care for natural resources. I'll use these words to guide me as chair of the DNR board. I truly believe my appointment by the governor for this important leadership role is the highest honor of my life. Thank you all for sharing this wonderful day with us.
Thank you, Dr. Hartley, and thank you for those kind words. And I'd like to say in Kershaw County, we ain't even broke a sweat yet. Best is in front of us. So we'd like to ask the governor and Dr. Hartley to come up with an official ribbon cutting, and following the ribbon cutting, we invite the governor and members of the General Assembly, the SCDNR board members, and representatives from Pyramid Construction to join us at the flagpole for photographs. All staff attending the board meeting are asked to begin moving to the boardroom after all this is done, and thanks everybody for being here.
This black ribbon?
we come around?
Cut it on. Hold for a second. We'll take a couple pictures. Hold right there. All right. And everybody looking right here first. And over here. Perfect. All right. We're going to cut on 3. And 1, 2, 3.
All right. Guess we're going to go by the flags for photographs. Flag.
Our first photo is going to be of you three gentlemen. Our second photo will be Ed, you guys, and then I'll select pictures for their share.
All right, well, it looks like things are wrapping up there in West Columbia with the new location for the DNR, ribbon cutting there, and Governor McMaster making some remarks. Take it from South Carolina now to Texas, where it has been in the headlines because of lawmakers taking up this redistricting bill. Let's go ahead and listen in on their special hearing that is taking place right now. This is live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Serious topic. I'm really bothered by this new map because it's taking my home, my East End community, splitting it and putting us with Liberty County and not having any opportunity for the public to come and address this. And these changes were made just in the last couple of days.
I understand your point. My home is, I think it was during the 1980 redistricting cycle, in which there were a number of court cases and other changes. I think I went through 3 state senators without ever moving in a 10-year period. So I understand, but that just occurs in redistricting. But
when was that you mentioned?
I think that was during the 1980s.
Okay, but that was probably done in a regular redistricting process, not in mid-decade.
No, well, I mean, it's a long time ago, I don't remember, but I remember there were some court cases and things moved from, so during that 10-year period, I changed senators. During that 10-year period, I changed congressional members without ever moving. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of redistricting, and we've talked before about how many times I think we've had changes during the interim in maps. I believe, I have to go back and look at my notes, but I believe every redistricting cycle beginning 1960. And so, my home county is split as well, and that's just part of the part of trying to meet the one person, one vote population requirement as well.
Yeah, and I wrote down those years that you mentioned. There were quite a few, but that has been driven by mainly court cases, not because whoever was in the White House said they needed more congressional districts of their party. It's a big difference.
Well, I know in 2003 it was because the Republicans took a majority in the House for the first time since, well, in the legislature for the first time since 1870, and we did redistricting at that time in 2003.
Wasn't that because the courts did it, and then so you wanted to come back and have the legislature do it?
No, in 2003 we did the legislature, because you had a Republican Senate and a Democrat House and a Republican governor. They were unable to pass a House, Senate, or congressional map in 2001. The redistricting board drew the House and Senate map in the 2002 elections. Again, for the first time, I think, since the 1870s, the Democrats lost control of redistricting. And in 2003, in a special session, Governor Perry put congressional redistricting on the call, and we took it up, and I think we went through 3 special sessions because the Democrats left the state again then as well, and produced a congressional map.
Okay, well, from what I'm being told and what I'm just reading back, it seemed like it was following the court case and legislature coming back
There
with the new
court case. We just had not done any congressional redistricting in 2001 and tried to do state Senate and House and were unable to pass a bill. And so the redistricting board again took up House and Senate, and then we did congressional in 2003.
Okay.
Because we hadn't done it in 2001.
And was there,
Yeah.
did that come from the White House, whoever was in power, or was that something the state leadership and the legislature decided?
I don't recall. I just recall it being put on the call.
Okay. So right now, as it stands, in Congress, there are 25 Republicans and 13 Democrats. Right?
Yes, as part of the Texas delegation.
Okay. And you said that one of the objectives was to create more Republican congressional districts. Why did you feel that was important?
I always feel that's important.
Okay, because now it's going to from 30 to 8. I'm just saying, when is enough enough?
Are you asking me personally? I am very proud of the work that the U.S. House has done, and the President and the U.S. Senate over these past 8 months now. I was very concerned and disturbed with what was done during the Biden administration, and I'm very concerned that if the Republicans lost the majority in the U.S. House, that the 2 years following the midterms could be very harmful to Texas and to the United States. And so I want us to maintain a Republican majority and hopefully increase a Republican majority in the U.S. Congress, and that's my purpose for being willing to carry this map.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think all the work that the Trump administration has been doing, I think all of those issues and policies and bills should stand on their own and let the American people make those decisions and not this rig districting. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Alvarado. Senator Hinojosa, you're
thank you.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just have several points and questions, points of clarification. I know Senator Miles asked, it wasn't clear, but the changes that were made in Senate Bill 4 by House Bill 4 in those congressional districts, those voters didn't have a chance to express their opinion after the changes were made. There was no public hearings on that point.
So as far as the Senate, this is the hearing the hearing that we're having today is the only hearing on HB 4 engrossed before the Senate. However, it's the companion to SB 4, and we've had a previous public hearing with public testimony on SB 4.
But we haven't had any on this side, on the Senate side. I know it gets over-explained, but the point is that I'm trying to make is there was no public feedback or no public testimony on the changes that were made to those congressional districts that came across from the House on House Bill 4 as compared to Senate Bill 4.
My only answer, sir, is that we're following standard Senate process in dealing with a companion bill when it catches up to the Senate bill.
And I understand that, but I mean, it's just a pretty simple question. I mean, no, we didn't have any hearings. Pretty much on this changes we made on our Senate bill from House Bill 4.
I understand.
The other one is there seems to be a contradiction between the three goals that you stated as it relates to improving Republican performance and then keeping communities of interest compact. And the reason I say that because I look in Hidalgo County, which that's where I live, in McAllen. You look at Congressional District 15, Congressional District 28, you cut Hidalgo County in half. Not only that, you separate Edinburgh, the university, from the city of McAllen. Even DHR, Doctors Hospital, which has part of their hospital is in McAllen, the other half is in Edinburgh, is split. And if you look at that's, and if you look, you split the city of FAR in the Hospital 4. FAR San Juan Alamo, which is one school district, is split in half. So how does that compare to trying to keep community of interest compact?
Well, first off, if you look at the existing congressional map or the House and Senate map, in trying to do one person, one vote, it's inevitable that a lot of cities and counties are divided in school districts. For one reason, cities and counties and school districts don't all share the same boundaries naturally. But compactness communities of interest has to do with a lot more than just geography. communities of interest, as you mentioned, can be a city, they can be an historic neighborhood, they can be a school district, but they can also be a water district, they can also be a water basin, they can be a transportation district, they can be an economic district of some sort. They can be any number of things that draw people together in common. I use my home district. My district stretches all the way from far east Tarrant County out into West Texas, and some of those counties have 4,000 people. One of them does 4,000. Another one has just 10,000, and then I have Tarrant County that's a large metropolitan area. Yet they share the same transportation district. They have two water basins, river basins that provide the water for most of the entire area that have to work together. They're in the same TxDOT region. I believe they're in the same DPS region. Actually, they share two TxDOT regions. Their economic driver is the same for most of the district, all coming out of the Metroplex area. So there's a lot of things that create communities of interest, besides just the geography of a county or a city or a school district.
Well, all the factors you mentioned are being violated in the way Delaware County was being split. And the communities that I know and I live in all my life, McAllen, you split it from Edinburgh, you split the Pottsville Island School District, it's one school district, and it's split in half. So those are very important to our community and keeping those communities of interest because Congressional 15 goes all the way up to almost San Antonio. The other one happens to be Corpus Christi, in Oasis County. There's another county which has been completely split. If you look at some of the neighborhoods, you have
which district are you going to?
That's the District 34, and
thank you. Yeah, I'm up with you now.
That district is also split, and that part of the district runs all the way up to San Antonio, and you split the Hillcrest Black Historical Community. You split the Port of Corpus Christi, which is an economic driver that you mentioned a while ago, from the university. So it splits all these communities. They have no relationship to the way the congressional districts are drawn. They go way up north or way into rural counties. They do not have community of interest, same economic drivers, or the same historical roots. So I mean, those are issues that I think are very important to my congressional districts. That now we have to sort of get to know different congressmen and the congressperson may not know the district as well as the one that was previously there. I mean, so those are very important factors to consider because my constituents are what I call, they require a lot of help, they require a lot of assistance. So the way the map is drawn for South Texas is not very in the best interest of my community. That's my comment.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hinojosa. Senator Miles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Senator King, we established previous conversations and previous meetings that the Republican Redistricting Committee is the one who drew our map. We established that, correct?
I don't know that they had any.
You spoke on that previously.
Are you talking about SB4 or HB4 engrossed?
SB4.
SB4, yes, we had talked about that they had, well, so again, I understand they were involved in that. I wasn't involved in that process with them. I adopted and filed the House map when it became stalled in the House. Okay. And so I don't have all the history on how it was drafted.
So let's check off. You established a house map, and that's what you filed, correct?
When the House map stalled in the House, I picked it up and filed it in the Senate.
Okay.
As a companion.
And in previous conversation on SB4, we had conversation on this diocese that the Republican redistricting committee is the one who we were referring to draw the map, correct?
Okay, it's my understanding that they were involved in the drafting of the original HB4.
Okay. Have we heard back from the DOJ, Mr. Chairman?
No. I haven't talked to anyone with the DOJ.
Okay. And do you understand, Mr. Chairman, that when black folks and minorities tend to lean Democratic, do you agree with me on that statement? For the most part?
I don't know how to answer that. I think that I hope that people look at issues, and I will just say that I can tell you on the map before us whether these historically will be have been Democrat or Republican in performance, but I don't want to speak about someone's political preference based on race.
So you have no idea that black and minorities tend to lean democratically.
So I just want to say that I do not want to take racial data into consideration in my promotion of this map. And what I have looked at and what I'm considering is how areas have historically voted, and I can tell you in any one of these districts whether I think they'll perform strong or weak or split to Republican and Democrat.
Well, if you don't want to take that position, then let me make it clear that it is impossible. It's impossible, based on the statement that you made, that you drew the map and you're proud that you've drawn the map for more Republican congressional seats. Is what you said to my colleague Alvarado just earlier, that you're proud of that, for more Republican seats. So knowing what I know and knowing what is the obvious, that minorities and African American vote democratically, it's simply impossible to draw those maps race blind that you have done. It's simply impossible, knowing and making the statement that you're proud of the fact that you've drawn more Republican seats in the state of Texas. Okay? With the fact knowing that African Americans and minorities lean democratically, it's simply impossible, Mr. Chairman, impossible to have drawn these maps race blind. And I close.
If I may respond, Chairman.
Senator King.
It's actually incredibly easy to draw a map when you don't take race into consideration, and when you're just trying to meet one person, one vote, and look at Republican and Democrat voting patterns. It's really very easy to draft a map, and frankly, if I'd really wanted to sit down and draw one, I could have drawn one that elected more Republican seats, probably.
May I respond to that?
Senator Miles.
If I can respond to that, if you're taking voting patterns into place, then you know that minorities and African Americans vote Democratic, if you're taking voting patterns into consideration.
All I'm saying is you don't have to look at race to draw a legal map that meets partisan objectives.
Well, if you say you can do that, Mr. Chairman, I find it awful funny that you didn't draw a map. You just took the House map.
I took the House map because it met the objectives that
which is the game
that I had for a map.
Which is to gain more Republican seats. I understand, Mr. Chairman.
Members, any other questions or comments? Okay, at this time, members, we'll take a vote on House Bill 4. Senator Parker moves that House Bill 4 be reported favorably to the full Senate with a recommendation that it do pass and be ordered, not printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
No.
Senator Hinojosa.
Nay.
Senator Hughes.
Yes.
Senator Miles.
No, but hell no.
Senator Parker.
Aye.
Senator Paxton. Senator Sparks.
Aye.
Senator Creighton.
Aye.
Senator King.
Aye.
It's 5-3, 1 absent.
There being 5 ayes, 3 nays, and 1 absent, House Bill 4 will be reported to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Pass it back over.
Thank you, members. Is there...
Pass the gavel back to you, Chairman
All right.
King.
Thank you, members. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Hearing none, Senator Creighton moves that the committee stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair. Thank you, everyone.
All right, as we are listening in on the Texas Senate Redistricting Committee hearing, there is plenty of reaction, as you can imagine, including from the Texas NAACP. They are having their follow-up press conference right now live out of Austin as well. And let's go ahead and listen in here on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Opposition and treat us as though we're the enemy. And I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I'd like to add something to that. Yes. We broke quorum because it is exactly what our constituents wanted us to do. The only one who needs punishing is Greg Abbott for doing the bidding of Donald Trump. That's and right. Not the people of Texas. And let me also add that for the governor of this state to tell the House what to do about its members is disrespectful to the independent status that we have. It is disrespectful to our Speaker that he is now telling the House what to do with its members. It is unprecedented, and I hope that we stand up against this disrespect to the Texas House.
And quick reaction, I was listening to the Senate committee. They didn't take a single, any testimony whatsoever, and it just got voted out of committee 5-3. It's heading down to the Senate floor, HB 4. Your reaction to that, and if yesterday was a dark day, what would today be, knowing that it's on the way to the Senate?
We have to keep this in the full context. This started with Donald Trump asking for 5 seats and to cheat. He called up Greg Abbott just like he called up in Georgia for 11,000 votes.
That's right.
We have to ask, is this the America that we want? And are we going to stand up to it in Texas? It is wrong for those maps to have passed out of the House yesterday, and it is wrong for them to have passed out of the Senate. But we know now, we affectionately are starting to call her our Rosa Parks, Nicole Collier. And we're going to have to find our Thurgood Marshall to take these things to the courts.
Yes.
We are going back to what we know we have to do when we are facing such oppression as we are right now.
And I know Attorney Bledsoe could speak to the next wave that LULAC talked about, and that is litigation.
Sure, but first of all, Mr. Chair, one thing I want to say about what happened in the Senate. When you see things that are extraordinary that are happening, these are signs or indications of clear intentional discrimination. Why is it that we had this new bill, 2333, never come subject to public scrutiny? The bill was unveiled this Monday. It was not unveiled in a hearing. It was unveiled in a committee meeting. It was voted out, and even though there were substantial changes from 2308, they moved forward with this bill. And yesterday, when Rep. Reynolds and others challenged the bill sponsor, Hunter, about this, he seemed very uneasy because he knew what was occurring. He did something that I thought was even really disrespectful to Chair Reynolds. He started to call him Ron. If you notice, you go back and look at the video, he stopped calling him what is customary on the House floor. He stopped calling him Rep. Reynolds. He kept calling him Ron. And I wondered what the signal was that he was sending in calling him by his first name continually. Secondly, I think that in terms of what's occurring in the Senate, if it's going to be voted on the same day in the actual Senate, that's truly extraordinary. That never really happens. What is it that they're afraid of? Why is it that they don't want to have the public to comment on C-2333?
They're afraid of Latinos and African Americans.
That's right. Yes. And they're afraid of good people, good, solid white Americans that understand right is right and wrong is wrong. And they understand the growth of our nation and the growth of our country and the growth of our state, where we become a state where we all can get along. We have black and brown representation. We realize that we have a whole lot more in common as Americans and Texans than we have that is actually different. And so I think that frightens them. They have an all-out attack on people actually getting together and living in a cooperative environment. We have to, what the Texas legislature has done, and I think this is embodied in this bill, they are codifying a requirement that people of our state be racist. Okay, they're saying you can't teach critical race theory. They're saying that you can't have DEI programs. They've had such intimidation put out there to where it really is going to undermine the ability of black and brown people to actually get jobs, because they're going to be worried about scrutiny from the state in terms of whether or not something was a DEI hire. It's really unfortunate what's actually.
And you've been watching live the follow-up press conference from Texas leaders from the NAACP following the committee hearing on redistricting, their hot topic in the Lone Star State. As we come up on 11 o'clock, Charlotte Today